The Galactic Confederation ship Eternal Glory glided silently through the darkness of space, approaching the blue-green planet with calculated precision. Commander Hyun stood tall on the bridge, his silver uniform gleaming under the soft lights as he studied the viewscreen. "Another primitive world to catalog," he remarked to no one in particular. Scientist Park approached with a data tablet, her expression troubled. "Sir, initial scans show anomalies. This planet, designated Earth in the local language, appears to be what we classify as a death world." "Explain," Commander Hyun ordered, now giving her his full attention. "The gravity is higher than standard, atmospheric pressure significant, extreme temperature variations from pole to pole, constant tectonic activity, and remarkably aggressive flora and fauna," Park said, scrolling through her data. "Yet somehow, the dominant species has not only survived but built a technological civilization." Admiral Kang joined them at the viewscreen, his weathered face showing disdain. "Have they achieved space travel?" "Limited," Park answered. "Lunar landing capabilities, orbital stations, and unmanned probes to nearby planets." "Then they pose no threat," Kang dismissed. "The Confederation will proceed as planned." Days later, the Confederation Council convened aboard the flagship. Representatives from the 27-member species gathered to discuss Earth's potential value. "The planet is rich in resources," the resource minister noted. "Water, minerals, biological diversity, all valuable." "And the inhabitants?" asked a counselor from the back. Commander Hyun stepped forward. "Humans, bipedal mammals with remarkable adaptability. They've survived multiple extinction-level events and continued to advance." Admiral Kang cut in. "Their military capabilities are fractured. They divide themselves by geographical regions called nations with varying levels of defense technology." "Perhaps we should approach diplomatically first," suggested Ambassador Lee, the most experienced diplomat in the Confederation. "Our studies show they respond well to peaceful overtures." Admiral Kang scoffed. "A waste of time. Their planet sits at a strategic junction. We should establish our presence immediately." After heated debate, the Council agreed to send a diplomatic mission while positioning military vessels in a containment pattern around the solar system. Ambassador Lee prepared for weeks, studying human languages and customs. When the delegation descended to Earth in a shuttle designed to appear non-threatening, global panic initially ensued. However, after careful communication, a meeting was arranged with an international coalition of Earth's leaders. The meeting took place in a neutral location, a conference center in Switzerland. Ambassador Lee led the alien delegation, while humans sent their most accomplished diplomats and scientists. "We come in peace," Lee began in practiced English. "The Galactic Confederation spans 27 worlds across 12 star systems. We wish to welcome Earth into our community." Human diplomat Mr. Jin responded cautiously. "We are honored by your visit, but wish to understand your intentions more clearly." As talks progressed over 3 days, tension grew. The Confederation representatives made it increasingly clear they viewed Earth as a junior partner rather than an equal. Admiral Kang, monitoring from orbit, grew impatient with the diplomatic process. On the 4th day, Jin questioned some of the resource-sharing proposals that heavily favored the Confederation. "These terms seem unbalanced. Earth would contribute significantly while receiving minimal benefits." Lee was about to respond when his communication device buzzed. Admiral Kang had overridden diplomatic protocols. That evening, at a formal dinner, Jin collapsed suddenly. Medical teams rushed in, but could not save him. Confederation security claimed a natural heart failure, but Earth's medical experts detected an unknown toxin. Earth representatives immediately suspended all talks and ordered the alien delegation to leave. Within hours, global military forces were on high alert. Aboard the Eternal Glory, Ambassador Lee confronted Admiral Kang. "What have you done? We had a chance for peaceful integration." "The humans were becoming difficult," Kang replied coldly. "Their resistance would only grow." Better to demonstrate our power now. You've started a war, Li warned. Kang smiled. A brief one. The Confederation Council has already approved a subjugation campaign. Their primitive weapons cannot match our technology. Commander Hyun watched the planet rotating below them, billions of lives unaware of the decision just made. You underestimate them. Admiral, they've survived on a world that should have killed them. That suggests something we may not understand. They're divided, technologically inferior, and unprepared. Kang dismissed. This war will be over before it truly begins. As the Confederation fleet assembled at the edge of the solar system, Earth's nations were doing something unprecedented, uniting against a common threat. What Admiral Kang had failed to recognize was humanity's greatest strength. When backed into a corner, ancient rivalries could be set aside in the face of extinction. The Confederation fleet moved into attack formation as they approached Earth's orbit. 150 warships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, a display of military precision that had subjugated a dozen worlds before. Admiral Kang stood on the command deck of the flagship Sovereign Might, watching with satisfaction. Begin the demonstration strike, he ordered calmly. Target their largest military installations. Minimal casualties. We want workers for the mining operations. 3 destroyer-class vessels broke formation, advancing toward Earth. Their weapons systems powered up, creating a distinct energy signature that Earth's primitive sensors would surely detect but be helpless to counter. Commander Hyun frowned. Admiral, our intelligence suggests humans may have more advanced detection systems than we initially believed. Irrelevant, Kang replied without looking at him. Even if they see us coming, they have nothing that can reach our ships. The first destroyer fired, a brilliant beam of energy streaking toward a military base in what humans called North America. To everyone's shock, the beam scattered harmlessly against an invisible barrier. Impossible, whispered Kang. Before the Confederation ships could regroup, dozens of smaller craft launched from Earth's surface and orbital stations that had appeared completely inactive in prior scans. These human vessels moved with unexpected speed and agility. They've been hiding their capabilities, Commander Hyun realized aloud. They detected us weeks ago. The human ships employed no uniform tactics. Some charged directly at the Confederation fleet, while others executed complex, evasive patterns. Their weapons technology was clearly inferior, but their targeting systems were remarkably accurate. Captain Su commanded the Earth defense vessel, Resilience, leading a squadron of fighters directly toward the Confederation flagship. Her face remained calm despite the odds against them. Remember your training, she told her crew over the comm system. They have better shields, but our maneuverability is superior. Pattern Omega-3. Her squadron split into 5 groups, approaching from different vectors that forced the Confederation point defense systems to divide their attention. While most of her fighters engaged in evasive action, drawing fire, Captain Su's ship targeted a specific weak point where the flagship's shield generators connected to the power core. On the Confederation bridge, alarms blared as systems reported multiple incoming threats. This is impossible, Admiral Kang shouted as his tactical display showed human ships executing complex maneuvers that scattered his neat formation. How are they coordinating these attacks? Commander Hyun studied the tactical readouts with growing respect. They're not coordinating, Admiral. Each group appears to be fighting independently, using different tactics. Nonsensical. No species wages war this way, Kang insisted as the ship rocked from a direct hit. Lieutenant Min rushed to the command console. Sir, they're targeting our shield generators with precision strikes. 3 destroyers have lost shields already. Captain Su's voice crackled across open channels, deliberately broadcasting on frequencies the aliens could intercept. This is Captain Su of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered Earth space uninvited and fired upon our planet. We will defend ourselves. Withdraw now. Admiral Kang slammed his fist on the console. Arrogant primitives. All ships, concentrate fire on their command vessels. But the human ships refused to maintain predictable patterns. When Confederation targeting systems locked onto what appeared to be command ships, they would suddenly change course, letting smaller vessels absorb the attack while counter-striking from unexpected angles. An explosion rocked the Sovereign Might as Captain Sue's vessel scored a direct hit on their main shield generator. Warning lights flooded the bridge. "Shield capacity at 20%, reported a technician. We've lost 3 destroyers and 5 support vessels. Human casualties appear minimal." "Impossible," Kang whispered again, watching his perfect battle plan crumble. Commander Hyun stepped forward. "Admiral, we should withdraw and reassess. These humans have clearly been preparing for space combat. Our intelligence was flawed." For a moment, Kang's pride warred with military logic. Then another explosion shook the ship. "Main weapons systems compromised," reported Lieutenant Min. "We're receiving distress calls from the Southern Battle Group." Kang's shoulders slumped. "Order the retreat. All ships, emergency withdrawal to Rally Point Delta." As the Confederation fleet retreated, jumping to faster-than-light travel with several damaged ships in tow, Captain Sue ordered her fighters not to pursue. "Let them go," she said quietly. "They'll be back, and with greater numbers." In the aftermath, Earth's combined military leadership gathered to assess the situation. General Tai addressed the room of officers from dozens of nations, their uniforms as varied as their tactics had been. "Today we surprised them," he said gravely. "Our diversity confused them, but make no mistake, they will adapt." This was only the first battle of what will be a long war. Captain Sue nodded in agreement. They expected an easy victory against a primitive species. Next time, they'll come prepared for a real fight. The emergency session of the United Nations stretched into its 3rd day. Representatives from every nation huddled together, former enemies now sitting side by side, facing humanity's first true existential threat. The massive screen showed damaged Confederation ships retreating, a temporary victory that bought Earth precious time. General Taj stood at the podium, his uniform crisp despite not having slept in nearly 48 hours. "The aliens will return, and next time they'll come with overwhelming force. Our current weapons technology cannot match theirs in a prolonged conflict." President Ho of the Asian Alliance nodded grimly. "Then we must not fight them conventionally." The room erupted in overlapping conversations until Secretary General Nam banged his gavel. "One at a time, please." President Ho continued, "Throughout history, technologically superior invaders have been defeated by those who refuse to fight on the invaders' terms. We propose a unified strategy of space guerrilla warfare." In the back of the room, Dr. Han listened intently. As head of Earth's newly formed Alien Technology Research Division, she understood better than most the gap they needed to close. She clutched her tablet containing preliminary analysis of wreckage recovered from the battle. "If I may," Dr. Han called out, approaching a microphone. "The Confederation ships use a predictable energy signature. Their technology is advanced but rigid. There's no evidence of adaptation or improvisation in their designs." General Todd gestured for her to continue. "Their technology reflects their thinking," Dr. Han explained. "We've analyzed communication patterns from the battle. They follow strict protocols, hierarchical command structures. This gives us an advantage they don't expect: human unpredictability." Within days, the United Defense Coalition was formed. For the first time in human history, military forces worldwide unified under a single command structure, albeit one specifically designed to encourage tactical diversity. At a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Han led a team of scientists from 30 countries. The laboratory buzzed with activity as they reverse-engineered alien technology from battle debris. "Look at this," Dr. Han said, pointing to a holographic display of a Confederation shield generator. "Their energy distribution is perfectly balanced, mathematically perfect, but with predictable cycling patterns." Engineer Jun nodded, understanding immediately. "If we can identify the pattern, we can time our attacks to match their shield vulnerability windows." "Exactly," Dr. Han smiled. And we can do better. Their tech is efficient but lacks creativity. We can improve on their designs. Across the globe, manufacturing facilities converted to military production. Civilian spacecraft were retrofitted with experimental weapons based on Confederation technology. But the real innovation came from humanity's greatest strength, thinking differently. In orbit above Earth, Captain Su supervised the training of pilots from diverse military backgrounds. Russian fighter pilots flew alongside Brazilian naval aviators. Chinese Space Command officers worked with Nigerian drone specialists. Each brought unique approaches to space combat. They expect us to develop a unified doctrine, Captain Su told her international squadron. But our strength is that we don't think alike. Each of you brings different solutions to the same problem. Meanwhile, the Confederation spy Jin moved carefully through a crowded Seoul marketplace. Disguised as human with synthetic skin and uploaded language skills, he gathered intelligence for the coming invasion. His mission: assess human military readiness and identify weaknesses. What he found disturbed him. Rather than following the expected pattern of centralized military buildup, humans were dispersing their resources. Weapons development occurred simultaneously in multiple locations. Command structures seemed chaotic by Confederation standards. Jin sent his encrypted report. Humans organized differently than all previously encountered species. They appear to value individual initiative over collective efficiency. This makes their movements difficult to predict. 3 months after the first battle, the coalition intercepted a Confederation scout ship. Instead of destroying it, General Tai ordered its capture. A special operations team led by Lieutenant Jun ordered the vessel using maneuvering techniques that baffled the alien crew. They approached from multiple vectors simultaneously. The captured Confederation officer reported after being returned in a prisoner exchange. Our protocols had no response for such tactics. Admiral Kang received this report with growing concern. The easy victory he had promised the Confederation Council now seemed unlikely. These humans are more resource-intensive than anticipated, he admitted reluctantly. Back on Earth, Dr. Han made the breakthrough they needed. Working with a captured Confederation power core, she developed a hybrid system that combined human adaptability with alien efficiency. Their technology is built on principles of perfect order, she explained to General Tai during a secured briefing. But we introduced controlled chaos, quantum fluctuations that make our shield patterns unpredictable while maintaining stability. General Tai studied the schematics. How soon can we implement this? Production has already begun, Dr. Han replied. Within weeks, our first truly hybrid warships will be ready. As Earth prepared, a message arrived from an unexpected source. A small Confederation vessel approached under a flag of truce, carrying representatives from the Min species, a faction within the Confederation that opposed the war. Your resistance has created division within the Confederation, their spokesperson revealed. Some of us believe humans deserve respect, not subjugation. We come with information about the invasion fleet now heading toward your world. Lieutenant Jun studied the holographic display of Proxima Station, the massive Confederation supply hub that supported their entire military operation in Earth's sector. The rotating structure hung in space like a metal spider, its 8 long arms extending from a central hub where ships docked to load fuel, weapons, and provisions. This is our target, he told his team of 12 special operatives gathered in the briefing room. They represented 7 different nations, each chosen for unique skills. Once we disable it, the Confederation fleet loses its local support base. Sergeant Ba raised her hand. Sir, a direct assault would be suicide. Their defensive grid would detect our ships long before we got within range. That's why we're not using ships, Jun replied with a small smile. At least, not conventional ones. 3 days later, a Confederation cargo vessel approached Proxima Station. It transmitted all the correct authorization codes and followed standard docking procedures. The board Confederation security officer barely glanced at the manifest, showing a routine delivery of purification filters for the station's life support systems. Inside the cargo containers, Lieutenant June and his team waited in complete silence, their modified stealth suits regulating their body temperature and masking life signs. The plan relied on the Confederation's greatest weakness, their absolute faith in their own technology and procedures. Cargo cleared for transfer, came the announcement over the ship's intercom. Docking complete. Only when the bay's pressure normalized and the loading crew departed did June activate his team's comm system. "Status check," he whispered. 11 confirmations came back, each operative ready. Their 12th member, Technician Men, had already slipped away to begin the first phase of the mission, accessing the station's maintenance systems. "Remember," June cautioned, "this is not a destruction mission. Targeted disruption only." The team moved through the station using maintenance tunnels and waste reclamation passages, pathways the Confederation considered too small and unimportant to heavily monitor. What the aliens failed to understand was that humans had millennia of experience in guerrilla warfare, using hidden paths and unexpected approaches. In the central control room of Proxima Station, Warning Officer Du noticed a slight fluctuation in the waste recycling system. He frowned at the reading, then dismissed it as routine maintenance. The station's commander had repeatedly emphasized focusing on external threats, not internal systems that self-regulated. This mistake would cost the Confederation dearly. Technician Men, hidden in a maintenance junction, connected her specialized interface to the station's secondary environmental controls. Dr. Han's hybrid technology allowed her to communicate with the alien systems without triggering security protocols. With careful precision, she began redirecting control of key systems to her team's devices. "Phase 1 complete," she reported quietly. "You have access to Section 8 through 12 ventilation and pressure controls." Lieutenant June's team split into 3 groups. The first, led by Sergeant Ba, headed for the fuel distribution center. The second, under Corporal Nam, moved toward the communications array. June led the third team to the station's power regulation systems. In the Confederation flagship orbiting nearby, Admiral Kang reviewed battle plans for the upcoming second invasion of Earth. The first attack had been a costly embarrassment. This time, he brought 400 ships, enough to overwhelm human defenses through sheer numbers. "The humans have improved their technology," his advisor noted, "but they cannot match our industrial capacity." "Their resistance ends soon," Kang replied confidently. "Once our main fleet arrives next week, we'll—" An aide interrupted with urgent news. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual power fluctuations from Proxima Station." Kang frowned. "System malfunction." "Unclear, sir. They're not responding to standard communications." Inside the station, chaos had erupted in carefully orchestrated stages. Sergeant Baz's team had rerouted fuel lines, causing minor but alarming leaks that forced evacuation of 3 sections. Security teams rushed to contain the supposed accidents, leaving other areas undermanned. Corporal Nam's group reached the communications array and planted their disruptors. Devices that wouldn't damage the equipment but would introduce subtle errors into all transmissions. Within minutes, the station's communications with the fleet became garbled and unreliable. Lieutenant June's team faced the greatest challenge, the heavily guarded power regulation center. Rather than attempting to breach it directly, they accessed a maintenance tunnel directly beneath the floor. "Ready with the sonic disruptors," June ordered. The devices activated, generating precisely calibrated vibrations that human hearing could tolerate but caused severe disorientation in Confederation species. Above them, the alien technicians collapsed in discomfort, unable to maintain their posts. As alarms blared throughout the station, the Confederation security forces found themselves fighting multiple problems simultaneously. Fire suppression systems activated randomly. Gravity fluctuated between sections. Communications failed, and their computerized response protocols, designed for efficiency in predictable situations, proved utterly inadequate for the coordinated chaos the human team had unleashed. "What is happening?" demanded the station commander, his voice rising in panic as reports flooded in from all sections. "Unknown, sir," replied his second-in-command. "Systems are responding, but incorrectly. It's as if the station is fighting itself." Admiral Kang watched from his flagship as Proxima Station's normally bright lights flickered irregularly. Supply ships docked at the station began emergency disconnection procedures, fearing whatever was happening might spread to their systems. "Send security teams immediately," he ordered. This cannot be a coincidence. But the shuttles dispatched to the station found their docking procedures refused by the automated systems. Some were redirected to inappropriate bays. Others received warning messages about contamination that didn't exist. Inside the station's central computer core, Technician Min completed the final stage of their mission. The virus she uploaded wouldn't destroy the station's systems. That would be too obvious and easily fixed. Instead, it introduced subtle errors into navigation data, inventory tracking, and security protocols. The Confederation could still use the station, but nothing would work quite right. "Mission complete," Lieutenant Jun announced as his team regrouped at their extraction point, a maintenance airlock near the station's waste ejection system. "Prepare for departure." They donned their spacesuits and waited as Min overrode the airlock controls. One by one, they slipped into space, their suits' propulsion systems carrying them away from the station toward a prearranged rendezvous point where a stealth ship waited. Admiral Kang received the report of the disaster with cold fury. "Humans," he snarled. "This has their mark all over it." His tactical officer nodded grimly. "Sir, without Proxima Station operating at full capacity, our supply lines for the Earth invasion are compromised. We'll need to delay the main assault." "Unacceptable," Kang snapped. "Bring additional supply ships from the home systems." "That will take weeks, sir." And the officer hesitated. "The Council is asking questions about the continued resistance. The Min delegation has formally requested a review of the war authorization." For the first time, doubt crept into Kang's mind. The humans were not fighting according to any recognizable doctrine. They struck where least expected, used methods no Confederation strategist would consider, and somehow anticipated Confederation responses with uncanny accuracy. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Jun's team returned to heroes' welcomes. The successful operation against Proxima Station marked a turning point, the first truly offensive action against Confederation forces. General Tai addressed the United Defense Coalition Council. "We've proven humans can take the fight to them. Now we expand our operations. The Confederation expects us to defend Earth. They don't expect us to target their infrastructure across the sector." Captain Su, recently promoted to Fleet Commander, outlined the next phase. "With the alliance of the Min people and other sympathetic Confederation species, we now have intelligence on dozens of vulnerable targets. We'll strike simultaneously, using our unpredictability as our greatest weapon." As plans formed for humanity's first coordinated offensive against the Confederation, news arrived that sent waves of hope throughout Earth's defense forces. The supply shortages caused by the Proxima operation had forced Admiral Kang to delay the main invasion fleet. For the first time since the war began, humans had seized the initiative. The massive Confederation battleship, Eternal Dominance, drifted silently through the swirling gases of the Orion Nebula, its weapons primed and targeting systems scanning constantly. Admiral Kang stood on the command bridge, his posture rigid despite the exhaustion evident in his eyes. For 8 months, the war against the humans had drained Confederation resources and morale. "Status report," he demanded. "Our fleet is in position, Admiral," his second-in-command replied. 27 capital ships with full support squadrons. "The humans cannot possibly know we're here." Admiral Kang nodded slowly. The Orion ambush would be his masterpiece, the decisive battle to end this embarrassing conflict. Intelligence suggested the humans were planning to establish a forward base in the nebula. When their ships arrived, his fleet would spring the trap and finally crush their resistance. "The Council expects results," Kang reminded his officers. "This war has gone on far too long." What Admiral Kang didn't know was that his supposedly secret battle plan had been compromised weeks earlier. The Min faction within the Confederation had passed details to their human allies. Even now, Captain Su's fleet approached the nebula, but not as the unsuspecting victims Kang anticipated. The news of the Orion Nebula victory spread rapidly throughout the galaxy. The Confederation Council, already facing internal pressure from the Min and other species who questioned the war, called for an immediate ceasefire. 3 weeks later, representatives from Earth met with the Confederation Council on neutral territory, a space station orbiting an uninhabited planet halfway between Earth and the Confederation's core worlds. The humans had insisted on this location, refusing to negotiate from a position of weakness despite their victory. Representative Choi led the Earth delegation. A former diplomat with a reputation for fairness, he had been chosen specifically because he had lost family in the Confederation's first attack. If he could negotiate peace, anyone could. The Confederation representatives expected harsh demands, reparations, territory concessions, perhaps even forced technology transfers. What they received instead surprised them deeply. Earth proposes a peace based on mutual respect. Choi announced to the assembled delegates, "We seek neither revenge nor domination. We ask only for recognition as equals and assurances against future aggression." The terms presented were remarkably reasonable. An exchange of knowledge benefiting both sides, established borders respecting Earth's sovereignty over its solar system, and a pathway for Earth to join the Confederation as a full member rather than a subjected world. "After what we did to your planet, you offer these terms?" asked the Confederation High Counselor in disbelief. "We've studied your history," Choi explained. The Confederation began as a force for stability and mutual benefit before it became an empire. We believe it can be that again, with Earth's help. The final peace treaty took only 3 days to negotiate, record time for an interstellar agreement. When Admiral Kang, now stripped of his command, heard the terms, he could not comprehend the human response. "I would have crushed them completely had our positions been reversed," he told his guards. "That's why you lost," one guard replied quietly. 5 years later, the galaxy looked very different. Earth had become a full member of the reformed Galactic Confederation, which now operated on principles of cooperation rather than dominance. Human ingenuity combined with alien technology accelerated progress for all member species. Dr. Han led a multi-species research initiative that revolutionized energy production. Lieutenant Jun, now commander, trained mixed-species tactical teams that incorporated both Confederation precision and human adaptability, and Captain Su commanded the first joint human-alien exploration mission beyond the Confederation's known borders. But perhaps the most telling change was a saying that spread throughout the galaxy, repeated in trading outposts and diplomatic chambers alike. "If you value your civilization, never start a war with humans." The humans, for their part, added their own wisdom to the galactic community. That victory means little without peace, and that former enemies can become the strongest allies when treated with respect rather than vengeance.